Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and I welcome you all to my Let's Play of Castlevania Dracula X, part of the long-running Castlevania franchise. It's the 10th or 11th game in the series, and it's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System semi-remake slash semi-sequel of Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which was previously released on the PC Engine. Though I say it's semi-release or semi-sequel or semi-remake for certain reasons, which we'll see in a moment, or over the course of this LP. It was supposed to be a remake, but there have been a lot of changes to the game, structure, storyline, etc. The basic storyline is the same, but there are a lot of differences, let's say. Long story short, many fans of the Castlevania franchise consider Dracula X to be a simplified and inferior version to Rondo of Blood. Though I still find it to be a pretty enjoyable game, though it's not really my favorite out of the three games I played, those being Castlevania 4, this one, and Castlevania Bloodlines. It is certainly very hard though, which we'll see over the course of this LP. And yeah, the basic part of both of those games is that Dracula has revived himself, has gotten revived by the evil forces after about 100 years after Simon Belmont has slayed him from Castlevania 1 and 2, and Super Castlevania 4 technically. And essentially he's kidnapped Richter Belmont's girlfriend as well as his little sister. Though in Rondo of Blood, he actually kidnapped two other maidens who were removed in this version. So yeah, that's our goal. For Richter Belmont to face his destiny and slay Dracula once more. I do like the intro titles animation. Before we begin, let me switch the options as usual. Yeah, the default options for most Castlevania games, well, it goes against my usual control scheme of the A button being jump, B being attack, and XY being whatever. Anyways, let's begin this. Here's our map. Our first stage will be the burning town. Here we go. This is Richter. Now the first thing you may want to notice is that, unlike his previous ancestor, Richter cannot whip in all directions and hold out his whip like Simon, so simplification. Also, the first enemy we saw there was an ape skeleton. They're pretty much the dumbest enemies in the game, and pretty simple. There's a skeleton, do one of his bone throws. Another one of Richter's abilities, which I found pretty interesting to use, is his ability to backflip, which, funny enough, is actually faster than walking normally. And the sub-weapons are back as usual, with me picking up the dagger earlier, and now with the axe. So using the backflip's ability to travel faster. See, unlike Simon and future and previous Belmonts, Richter in this game is actually rather slow. So, and his jumps are kind of awkward to use. Here are the classic bone pillars, and I just up a pendant which kills off all the enemies on screen. Here are the classic Medusa heads, annoying as usual. Be warned of those pillars, those platforms falling over. Get used to that. Here are the new enemy type zombies, and right behind us, chasing us, is a behemoth. Keep running to the right, and don't get hit by it, as he'll do heavy damage and launch you. And I picked up my favorite weapon in this game, the cross, or boomerang. Mainly because it's small to hit, though it has its own issues. Be wary about these temporary platforms. If you stand on them long enough, they'll flip. I do love the atmosphere of this stage, starting with a burning town, that being the town where the maidens were kidnapped, and now going on to a place where the music's gone more somber and such. It's interesting seeing how the town is burning, as well as the song. Anyways, with the town ominous, here comes our first boss, the Cerebus. After hitting him, he'll throw a fireball and jump away. The fireball is pretty easy to dodge. You can either backflip or jump out of the way. The most dangerous part of this fight is not his fireballs themselves, it's how much he keeps jumping all over the screen. That's what makes him so dangerous. Just keep using your sub-weapons as well as whipping him. Just be warned, if you hit him once or twice for enough damage, he'll jump away and then shoot a fireball. Almost got hit there, and I used my item crush. In this case, for the cross, using the item cross causes multiple crosses to fly out and hit everything on the screen. And yeah, that's the stage. If you complete a stage without taking any damage, you get a 1-up for imperfect bonus. Overall, the Burning Town was a nice introductory stage for me. It had a nice tone for showing the game, though the mood isn't as good as Super Castlevania 4. I did love the music though. Alrighty then, now we're moving on to the second stage, the castle entrance. You worry of these fishes? Fishmen. And here's the classic remix of Vampire Killer. You worry of these collapsing platforms? This is where you have to be very wary of Richter's, let's just say, unique jumping style. It's kind of difficult to control his jumping, though at least if you do mini jumps, you can at least somewhat change direction in midair, which Simon couldn't, if I can recall correctly. Yeah, half the game's difficulty is kind of fighting with the controls, though that's just maybe me. Alright, here's another ape skeleton throwing barrels. Be careful. Just so you can whip them several times to destroy them, and they'll become no problem at all. Inside of the cathedral, the castle itself, like we saw earlier. Now making a comparison to Rondo of Blood. This game, even though it's supposed to be a remake or sequel to it, they changed quite a few things. The stages themselves are quite changed as well, as we'll see. In fact, the first stage was kind of bigger in the original game. And here's me using the holy water. It takes 3 hearts compared to the other ones taking just 1, so you have to be very careful about it. Though it does multi-target. Here's a pouncing skeleton. There are spear guards. Be warned, as they can deflect axe shots as well as daggers, as well as they can thrust forward. As we'll see later, soon enough, it's dangerous time to fight, or it can pounce forward. Anyways, talking about the game's differences, they took the gist of the stage designs, well, most of them, but they changed the layout dramatically, as well as remixing the music. So, comparing it to Rondo of Blood, it's like a completely different experience. As well as the graphics being somewhat upgraded or downgraded in several regards, though the PC Engine did have issues with the soundtrack. Here's the Spear Guard's dangerous attack, where they raise their spears, prepare, and then race towards you. Backflip to dodge that, or quickly jump out of the way. Or backflipping. Anyways though, yeah, the Rondo of Blood and this are essentially like 2 different games, or 2 different interpretations of the same set of events. Though, funny enough, in comparing it to Castlevania franchise's timeline, this game, Dracula X, is technically non-canon. Or it's semi-canon, but more of a Gaiden game. Rondo of Blood is actually canon, considering some changes to who Maria is and how her powers did not manifest here, and they did compared to in Symphony of the Night, the direct sequel to this game. Anyway, time to face the second boss, the Phantom Bat, which is composed of multiple bats. If you hit him, he'll split up into multiple bats and travel in a wave towards you, so make sure to do it while on the edge of the screen, when he's on the edge and you're not, so you don't get hit. Multi-hitting sub-weapons are wonderful here. As well as when he trails back, you'll be able to hit him multiple times without fear of retaliation. I would say that he's difficult in a way of positioning compared to the previous boss, as the previous boss, Cerebus, required more movement. Anyways, that was just him. I just used the Holy Water's special weapon crush and killed him, though it's relatively weak. Though, as you may have noticed, when he did his final attack, several bats spread out of him. Those will damage you and void you of a purple bonus, though I dodged it pretty well. Just be careful, many bosses in this game actually have death throw attacks, or kamikaze attacks. Overall, I did like this castle entrance, its tone, though it kind of lacked the atmosphere of the first stage. It was kind of a difficult jump. Alright, moving on to stage 3, the castle center. Just jumping on these bone pillars, collecting the heart, beware of that pillar. And here are the Medusa heads, as annoying as usual, even more dangerous because of all the spikes and precariously placed platforms. One of my main favorite tracks of this game, Bloody Tears, the next remix. I'll be taking the spear from here on because I was realizing I was running low on hearts, and I needed positioning for later on. Yeah, and like previous games, the bone pillars fireballs can be destroyed, which will be very helpful in a later on section. Yeah, and yep, those spike pillars, spike platforms can deflect the daggers as well as axes. Be warned about that. Yeah, comparing it to Rondo of Blood, I know I'm making so many comparisons to Rondo of Blood. It's kind of getting tiring, but in that game, I would say that the soundtrack here is about the same, though that had the benefit of CD-ROMs. The sound effects here are much better, though. Considering that was 8-bit and this is 16-bit, though I give them credit for working with what they did. They had. Another useful feature in this game, as you just saw, is that once you collect a sub-weapon, you'll drop the old one instead of completely replacing and losing it, which is, I would say, a very good improvement of the previous games. It was kind of frustrating picking up special weapons you didn't want. At least now you can collect the new ones, and keep the old one if you don't want them. I just collected the stopwatch, which freezes time, not really freezes time, but it slows down the enemy movement, though not all enemies are affected by it. The most dangerous part about this stage, this part of the stage, is the bats, not really those fishmen. Also, you may or may not see the heart counter flashing, or it may be completely invisible to you, but what that means is that I'll be able to use my item special sub-weapon crush. There's an axe soldier, or axe guard. They throw axes at you, or throw boomerang axes. You can only hit them at the head, as their shield will deflect all shots. At least as long as you hit them 3 times, their shield will go away, and then you can hit them without fear of not hitting. More bone pillars. Here's a section. One thing that this game shares with Rondo of Blood is the alternate stages. In this case, this is stage 3, and in order to get the best ending, I cannot fall from these pillars. As if I do, I'll get sent to stage 4 star, 4 extra. I'll show that in another video. Yep, just like that. This is one of the riskiest areas in the game. If you want to get the best ending, as if you fall on the pillars, boom, you instantly cannot get the best ending. You're stuck essentially. Like I said, I'll be showing the stage 4 star in a later video. Probably once stage 4 is done. And this is also extremely important to learn how to gauge Richter's weird jumping mechanics. In fact, jumping, as it's crucial to not fall off. But yeah, that's why the Medusa heads and bone pillars are here, to pretty much knock you off and completely screw it up. Take the key here, as it'll be very important for unlocking the best ending. Ignore everything else, though it makes this next boss much harder. And here's our third boss, Durahan, or I like to call him the Mega Lance Soldier. One of his attacks is where he jumps, raises spears, jumps, and rams the ground. Just backflip or dodging. Another attack is where he throws his head at you, and if it hits you, it'll curse you and cause you to go half as fast. Another thing I like to abuse here is that the item crash for the key takes no hearts to use, You only need a minimum of 15 hearts, and it renders you invincible and suspends you in midair. And yep, that was Durahan. Another one of his attacks, what he didn't show, is when he raises his helmet and it fires a spread shot of 5 pellets towards the ground. But yeah, abusing the key's Iron Crush ability is very useful. Overall, I do like the Castle Center stage, though, like I said, it kind of lacks the atmosphere of Stage 1. It'll be a common theme, we'll see. Overall, thanks for watching, viewers, and I hope to see you next time. Have a nice day. Toodles!